In this video, we'll discuss how I made almost $1,000 in one day as a notary signing agent. Hi there, Jon Snedeker here with Notary Signing Agent Blueprint, where my blueprint takes you further, faster. Feel free to subscribe to learn how to make the absolute most as a notary signing agent. Before we get started, can you do me a favor? Let me know in the comments right now if you knew or you did not know that you could run a full-time notary business. Let me know in the comments right now. Let's dive into the specifics of how I made almost $1,000 in one day as a notary signing agent. You have to remember a couple of things. Business is about people and systems. The more efficient you are, the more you'll be able to do in your day. On this day, I did 9 signings. How did I do 9 signings in a day? Let's take a peek behind the curtains. First, let's talk about time. My first signing was at 7 o'clock in the morning, and my last signing was at 8:30 at night. If you want to make great money in this business, sure, you can work 2 or 3 hours a day, but you can also work 15 or 16 hours a day. There's no limits except for the ones that you put on yourself. 9 signings was scattered between all day, and several of them, 2 or 3 of them, were open time signings, where I actually was able to schedule it directly with the borrower for a time that worked for them, but that it also worked for me. When you could fit more signings in your schedule, you can make great money and even more money in this business. Let's talk about some of my tools. My high-speed LaserJet printer prints over 40 pages per minute and is both a dual tray, which is legal and letter. All my FedEx and UPS envelopes are already made and ready to go. So when you have a printer that's a high-speed printer, you print in the morning, and even as a secret, guys, you can print in your vehicle, okay? A lot of people are a little quirky on that, but at the end of the day, if it's gonna put more money in your pocket, not an extra like 20 bucks in your pocket, I'm talking about several $100s a day extra, why not have a vehicle in your printer? Guys, if you can make a great money, I mean, almost $1,000 in a day, sure, did it take a little bit of cost to set up the printer in the vehicle and have a separate laptop? Yes, but if you're doing signings and you're doing it full-time, why not maximize your income opportunity by printing in your vehicle on reschedules and same-day scheduled opportunities? You can take those orders if you have a printer in your car, but if you don't have a printer in your car, you may not be able to take those orders. So maximizing your opportunities starts with your mind. Let's talk about some of the types of orders that I work on. Guys, I'm very strategic with my business. I make sure that I'm doing lots of refinances, but also at the same time, lots of purchases, lots of seller transactions. I do a lot of one-page documents. Now, I don't take them for a low fee, but many times they need to be scheduled in the same day. So they kind of need somebody to take care of it. When you spread your risk by doing several different types of transactions, what it allows you to do is reduce your risk and you get more orders. So be very strategic with what types of orders you work on. If you're not doing any equity loans or equity lines of credits, you need to go find companies who regularly schedule for just equity loans and lines of credits. Round out your business with several different types of order streams and be very strategic with who you work with. Next, let's talk about the location or the territory that I service. I'm here in Pinellas County, Florida, and Tampa Bay. I'm very selective with where I'll drive. The smaller the area, the more orders and signings that I can fit in one day. When you spread everything out, your drive time is too far. And what that allows you to do is, sure, you'll get the calls for orders, but you won't be able to accommodate as many because you'll be in your vehicle too long to be able to print and go back to the office or back home. You're just gonna wanna, when you're starting out, you may need a larger territory, but as you refine your skills and become more efficient as a business, what it allows you to do is keep a smaller territory where you can print in your vehicle if you have to, and make an extra $1, $2, or $3, maybe even an extra $400 a day by doing that because your drive time is shorter and you have the printer in the car. Now, you don't need a printer in your car to be successful in this business. You can still make great money without it. It's just an option to help you fit more orders in your schedule. Now let's talk about who I take calls from. Guys, I'm an experienced notary signing agent. I've been doing this for over a decade and I've done over 8,000 closings. Who I take calls from is very specific. At this point in my business, if you're not already pre-programmed in my phone, there's a good chance that I don't answer it. I don't field calls from random companies. I don't work with hundreds of companies. I work with hand-selected, hand-picked, and companies that I have screened personally to make sure that they meet my parameters before I set up and work with them. So when I do that and I screen them, I make sure that I get their main phone number and I program that in my phone. That way I know when I really need to pick up the phone, or I can just let it go to voicemail and get back to somebody later. There's a little bit of method to the madness. Sure, as a newer notary signing agent, you want to pick up all your calls. But as you become more experienced, things shift a little bit in your favor and you start to learn how things really work. I also tell people, guys, I've never worked with more than 15 companies at once. Usually 6 to 7 companies is a good sweet spot. And it's only able to be a sweet spot when you get in the queue with them. You're not just telling them you're another notary and just call me. People that just get in the queue with hundreds of companies, they're kind of just a name on a list. You don't want to be a name on a list to these people, guys. You want to be the go-to for your area. And when you screen companies, develop credibility with them, and you can convince them to be the go-to, you don't need more than 6 or 7 or 15. You need a lower number of companies that are high quality companies instead of 100 mediocre quality companies. Go be the go-to. You won't need to work with as many companies, and that'll make your business a lot easier to run every day. One of the other things that I do to become successful is the night before the closings happen. So every night before the next day, I make sure that I reach out and get the paperwork if I can. I know documents are a little bit last minute in this business, but I regularly work with companies who don't give me issues with late documents. So when you screen your companies and you work with high quality companies, typically you're working with companies that really know what they're doing on when they send you paperwork. That way, the day of the closing, you don't run into as many snags. You almost get to the comfort level that you can expect that they don't reach out to you, that they don't make changes. Sure, things will come up, but when you regularly work with companies who give you the documents the night before, it allows you to print them in the morning and fit more orders in your schedule because you have the ability to do that. I just want to say that as I raised my standards and raised my expectations, I had lower headaches for myself. I made sure that I did a little bit more work up front with the companies, and that way it just made it easier to work with them. I don't work with anybody and everybody. I'm here to tell you that pleasing everybody is a bad strategy. You want to screen the companies first, make sure they meet your parameters, and that gives you less headaches in this business. When you're able to print the night before, when you're able to get documents the night before and print first thing in the morning, it allows you to stay on the road longer, helping more people and putting more money in your pocket, simply signing paperwork for a living. Guys, you print or pick up paperwork if you work directly for title, you meet the signer, and you send off the documents when you're done. It's not a hard business, but you need to develop the efficiencies that's gonna let you get there. So as I made almost $1,000 in one day as a notary signing agent, the higher that I raised my standards, the more efficient I became. And the more efficient I became, the more money I started to make. Guys, I take this seriously. I run it as a business. You can run it as a business either full-time or part-time. How often or how frequent or how many closings you do does not mean that you're not running it as a business. You need to be running this as a business regardless of how many closings that you do. If you have questions, I have answers. Email me personally at TeamJon, TeamJon, Jon, at nsablueprint.com. Feel free to like and share this video with who you feel could benefit. Let me know in the comments right now if you knew you could run a full-time notary business. I look forward to seeing you in our next video.